Demokrasi la kanyanta. Demokrasi kanyanta. Allah baraka demokrasi. Allah baraka demokrasi, Allah baraka. Jërëjëf. Allah baraka. Jërëjëf. Wow, jërëjëf. Thank you. Jërëjëf. Lord Mayor of the Kanjur municipality, Ngani, the party leader is in Kanifing. Rahim Malik, Lord Mayor of Banjul is in Kanifing. Aji Amsaka, deputy party leader is in Kanifing, so then you are a failures. Why not? Lord Mayor Hana danga bugan na kasamag. Wahed. Yama wahane. Bunay fe deka. Run free. Dadana nak Adama Barrow. Wahle de bari de naji. Samag. Why not? We'll discuss you later. Thank you very much. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Distinguished delegates, leaders and representatives of political parties, invited guests, office holders, spanning the structure of the UDP, party militants, and members of the public gathered here today, I greet you all in my personal and official capacity as Secretary General and leader of the United Democratic Party. I extend a warm welcome to you to our National Congress. I am deeply honored to have you witness this important event, which we are not only required by statute to hold, but it's also a reaffirmation of our party's long and cherished tradition of internal democracy, rededication to our core principles of commitment to the rule of law as a foundation for building a Gambia that is free, democratic, and forward-looking. I want to begin by thanking the members of the organizing committee and our host community, Kanifing Municipal Council, Kanifing Municipality, and its dynamic and capable leader, Mayor Talib Ahmed Bensouda. They have exerted tremendous efforts to welcome and make our delegates from all corners of the country feel at home. I also want to thank all our party members and supporters in the Gambia and the diaspora. They have devoted their time and committed their resources to the party to help organize world, constituency, and regional congresses. In the best tradition of the party, where issues were discussed and positions contested in an open, free, and fair process. That result is a process that affirmed the express will of our membership and support base as provided for by our party constitution. Our party, which is anchored on the foundations of democracy, has consistently held on to the promise of and practiced the principles contained in that hollow tradition. Seeing the enthusiasm and vigor of grassroots supporters, both here and abroad, as we go through these internal democratic processes, gives me tremendous hope in both the present and the future of our party. It affirms my strongly held belief that UDP is more than a political party. It is an idea etched into the hearts and minds of its membership and supporters. This Congress will continue the tradition in evaluating the activities of the outgoing leadership and charting the way forward for the Gambia and our party. I want to take a moment to thank all the members of the leadership team that was entrusted by the last Congress to manage the affairs of the party. They have all worked hard to serve our party and the Gambian people to the best of their abilities. I have benefited from their wise counsel and thank them from the bottom of my heart. I respectfully ask for your indulgence and request delegates and invited guests to take a moment to remember and pray for my brother, confidant, and colleague, Alhaji Lamin Dambun Diba, who we lost a few weeks ago. I started the journey with him from day one, and for over 2 decades, he fought courageously and consistently to end tyranny and restore democracy he so firmly believed his beloved Gambia deserves. He was honest, sincere, and loyal to the values and principles of the party. He lived to see part of his dream, a free Gambia, realized, but at the time of his passing, he had saddled up for the next phase of the struggle to consolidate the democracy and rule of law in the Gambia. That is now a task you and I are duty-bound to complete on his behalf and on behalf of his colleagues who have also passed and who has also served and passed on. Our request is to make sure that the will of late heroes like Femi Peters, Lammarong, Solo Sandin, Sajo Kunjan Sane, Kunda Kamara, and others is realized. And that is a cause we must pursue with a focus and consistency worthy of the sacrifices and patriotism of Lamin Dambun Diba, my friend and colleague, and the others who are not with us. I am, with confidence, looking forward to a fruitful and robust engagement with colleagues and members as we collectively chart a way forward and prepare for what will be a defining election. Our country is at a crossroads. After a promising start that was delivered by the courage, sacrifice, and determined patience of the Gambian people. Men and women of conscience pulled together and put aside superficial political differences and confronted an entrenched tyranny with nothing more than a firm belief in the righteousness of their cause and the vote that represents their voice and the sovereign power that resides in that vote. They queued in long lines, not giving in to either fear or inducement, and showed a 22-year dictator where real power resides and the best way to exercise it. With faith and determination, they defeated a tyrant and restored the democracy to which the people are the principal custodians. This newfound democracy was neither given by the defeated tyrant nor his successor. It was earned by those several Gambian citizens who dedicated themselves to the duty of fighting for their own freedom. You, the Gambian people, gave yourself the democracy you enjoyed. It was not gifted to you by anyone. That was precisely the reason the world stood by us to ensure that the express will of the Gambians who voted for change was upheld. We have now seen how, over the last 4 years, attempts at resurrecting and reconstituting the terrible and discredited ways of the deposed regime are creeping up. Abuse of authority, corruption, wasting of scarce resources, and sabotage of vital reform agenda, all designed to take us back to the old days of running our affairs, are what we are witnessing. A vivid example of maladministration is how the government, under the leadership of President Adama Barrow, continues to mishandle the raging global pandemic of COVID-19. Their response has been messy, inadequate, wasteful, and completely ineffective. Millions of dollars have been squandered on inflated hotel bills, bureaucratic guys, opaque purchasing transactions, and token food support that have left our substantial members of the needy Gambian across all regions. Neither our decrepit health facilities nor our brave and hard-working frontline personnel have been given the priority and resource allocation they require to serve and protect our people. In the rest of the world, governments are focusing on the health and agriculture sectors with emergency funding to mitigate against the effects of this serious global pandemic. This is an unacceptable state of affairs that requires the very agents of the change that ended the tyranny in 2016 to rededicate themselves to safeguarding the threatened aspirations of the Gambian people to live in a society where the only dictator and tyrant is the Constitution. As we have done since the founding of the UDP, we will, with other consensus citizens, be at the forefront of the battle against the reintroduction of the tyrannical rule in the Gambia. Our country today is saddled with a president and a leadership team that subordinates the urgent and life-sustaining needs of the citizens to the obscene or scandalous allocation of very scarce resources to the personal needs of the president and his cronies. There is no better example of this than how farmers and the vital sector of agriculture, upon which 3/4 of our people depend for their livelihood, are treated in the 2021 budget. How can it be just or moral that the president of this country is being paid a salary of $250,000 a month and can turn around and further allocate himself $150,000 a day to spend on food? What kind of unheard of gluttony would possess the leader of one of the world's poorest countries to spend more money on his personal food than is allocated for the medicines and equipment of our underfunded hospitals? In total, this president proposed to spend $627 million on his office and a few dozen people that work there, but allocating only $402 million to the entire Ministry of Agriculture. That is an outrage that every Gambian must refuse to accept, because it condemns the majority of our population to poverty and neglect, while their hard-earned money is being skimmed off and wasted by an uncaring administration. They take our limited resources to live large and feed the people with empty rhetoric. This is defining contrast with the UDP. We believe the priority is the people, not those that are hired or elected to serve them. Our national budget must reflect the priority needs of our people, and this is what this Congress and the policy positions it will generate as part of our broad and ambitious agenda for 2021 will address. At the end of this important gathering, the Gambian people will have a clear understanding of what we propose, how we intend to execute the agenda set forth, and more importantly, how it would mirror their priorities. The upcoming elections would be about clear choices, both for the nation and the individual voter. It will be a referendum on a corrupt and failed government that has squandered the golden opportunity to pivot our country. A referendum on a government that is resorting to the discredit tactics of the regime it succeeded, and a referendum on a government that is seeking to divide the nation and use subterfuge and deception to fool just enough people to slide by and continue to amble along with their failed agenda and mediocre leadership. This administration has scuttled the reform agenda supported by a majority of Gambians, and this clearly demonstrates its incompetence. We must not allow them to cause additional damage. Therefore, I call on all our members and supporters to work with like-minded citizens who care about a better Gambia, wherever they may be, to end this train wreck and give our hard-won democracy a new lease of life. At this Congress, we will be shaping not only the future of our party, but also the future of the Gambia. We will be dedicating ourselves to the true reform agenda that was selfishly and capriciously aborted by a president who subordinates the vital national interest to his personal obsessions with office he was elected to serve the citizens. Our nation, our people deserve honest, selfless, competent leadership that is focused on addressing the challenges we face and harnessing the opportunities we have. I am confident UDP can deliver that. I pray for Allah to guide us as we deliberate on the future of our party and what it has to offer to the Gambian people as we enter into the upcoming election. I thank you all, and may God bless the Gambia. Mbe mobe kontona alfa kendol mel be mabeta janto be kontona konton do ta jam fala bari ngamir abe nyi nyala le ni nga fangla alfa alaj MC Cham nga konton ri saharin diala ani alfa ko tel mel be janto ala yasi se be janto na politique parti mo dolo mel yalon ka voko mu la parti nyaton ko leti ibe janto ngeje APRC Mr. Bao GM CA ngebe janto so mbalbe kontona ngamira be kaskelale natra mo sabal be janto man konton di buñarin di wala ambassadeur ti Ibrahima Mane Mohamed Lamsidat Diop ani Ramza Diab ni kata mo let mena lan ka ko itata Gambia bantala ye do ko ke Gambia e pour Gambia la na fakan bar bi e mantra place auto adu be janto bi so nyantale ke konton ka de do ko men ke jeto ya ke Gambia le adu balten la nyina ko balten la nyina ka ko al malundi ndemer na recommendation ke kawo ko ale ke ambassador ti ale do ko ka nyam al malundi ala baraka bake so fo ngar recognize ni mukulat me yalon ka ko sanjifla nyantal kake Gambia luwal dam mamma fo ko nyaake bari fal nga luwa me dim fangla na constitution ngaki jele ka ko sanjifla fonsi sile nga pati wala ko kacha ngam fan jube ngam fan korosi na helol bedame ngaje ka ko ngol topodo anin ne nyata tala nyame nyato wosilon nge wala at nam bijanto bi na diaspora ko bijanto no la no ka ko wol fanal mu lola balet patiyoni e nanga mo men nata janto pour ñu congress la asiata mo tan nan lete Mr. President of Diaspora menira modu ngal tedu ngal jay UDP damane si nyinkeno the diaspora wiga kapaso jo more than 40 people kana congress do tel damane so do kadun tel damane kadun tel damane ñi banko la ñato ta a ñama am tel damane laftala ngalo na ka ko melko imo pati balti do melko mo pati balti be yayla no wala congress sita mole to bola non tubabu du hani Senegal mole to bola ni kana jeto na title mon paso kiye bari ni congress ni akumaya tabake ka ni non pati wala congress la banti jani election ni election men binala ten walbe Gambia bondila walbe Gambia pinandila ni election men binala te walba kende Gambian kono ila kan foroya me yalon kafo ko yakuma 2016 iba kun fanola 2016 Gambia dil funtita I jama ilota tilol koto pour kata ka karto fay mola silandri me bondi jeto mola bure me bondi jeto ilafta menkela pour que fan kanandi ya karto fale fan kanandi ya ka dalilol mel kama ndesan Gambia bi wa dalilol inyata walla le dalila qotandu yo moli ci ka walla ko be Gambia munekala ko ber functional kala ka falen rol ke ko be falen rol kala tamar nyato bar kunu malka ya jame tumi ikafo ko ya jame nyim kaman correct ya jame nyim ke police wala ya jame state resources membe ke kam bi wala tamte ya jame tala bawo ya jame kadu ya jame wala develop la over a period of years banni ndolu nata bi ayabe ke bi itale ka jawata ya jame tati wata iben samba kan komale na safaro na famo sotoato wato dem ben men kala jante bi men tapati wada man ko kacala bar gambela sama mbole kacala atel mel botanan dulal to tarin kabo kabiri kantora kana fo kombo south kabo kabiri lowa nyome kata fo wulli east tel mel nata janto ni congress to albesira jende ka banko la ko ka kacha na banko nyanta sambala nyamem na responsibility la mu kajo ko nyim banko akana tuden kadi fito na jolonta kolon kono dinko kono tonkolo buka bondino sakora ko kukuten wata alin kana son nyim fito memu Gambia de ay jolo dinko kono Gambia bilu inyanta menkala yole ke ya mansa kunda tombong me alon kaf ko laftala baro mansa kuna nak amanana ila kol hatte mansa kunda jumale si son million kama woro million mon anin saba yota ko tala office o depanso wala be kala walto mansa kunda jumale zona dana yalon kafa ko nyimbanko ko men sulom wolati même agriculture sénébla ya million tan ni fula yo di walla amuta million adoba million mo nyom bete itani waltema elaw kamune ke law ko magge fembe focal state house molbe bolana kombo south ikana kafa ko mbeku moy sirfo be bolana le ko kombeku mel yalon kafa ko walla nyanta nyimbanko do ko la me yalon kafa ko nyimbanko la fanko walla nyanta yiro wandila wo imam fendi walla bari o be fo manjawyaade yanana million yanana dals buli keme dals buli tan lulu yota yodi fanna ko la dépense lulu yanta mara mo dabar sifale ka kenye blato dalasi wuli kame dalasi wuli tangulu dalasi wuli kame dalasi wuli tangulu ko ke lun kilinde pansoti nte binki mabe sir ndaban kunda man si amanda so moke yalim bayi ko to mana muso wobe badibul onon konton soto rahimani klo badi be salum iman simam soto bo kilin wuli keme wultan lul gadi wala mun banko la nafati ba nyilam ko dima yalon ka boko nyanda ngal kalo ka kabo ni banko kan ni election mo binana wala mkuti me yalan ka boko asin samano kan haklo bulandi kula minafo njiso aka nasono moka aka sunu bake dua keta bahali ya kontinua ka dua ke nkotoma nterima nkullonyo nkukenyo damin dambin diba sere ni ntumo congress la tumo menna bi ngana talo jube ay wara baba mendung anim bambada abe janto barati janto bi so ani sidwaye ay kelo ka nyama pas jako ton natale bijeto Tambo big nata bijeto. April 16 nata le bijeto. Aya belke Gambia ye. Ati jang alinga duaye fo ala sida jang sonabe ayemen tumbulu ngana na fawala. Ayemen tumbulu kana na fawala. Ngaje kafoko alo hammo. Ani melta mani mel yalan kafoko wala satran kiyata atenya. Ibe kule kala kanyon janto. Ngadol tofo kunda kamara sajo kunda sane nyolo. Ini hammo le fata. Oto hammo alngaje ko ngol timmandi balbe kontona especially na diaspora modo mbe konton do fanankela alaji konte doma derma and of course one will be santo jana nan fanal konto Kadu atello munna bozmela lon ka ko na be atello munna ben la koti din ko man rakino tab kadia atello munna koti. Thank you very much. kanab barum so don konton ala baraka ala baraka ala baraka ala baraka ala baraka ala baraka babi ab katari akela bari mboke la bi ka nabari musodol konton anin binkinyolu jugna keba binkilo mati bari amasaho walmo bari musollati ne wolle wuluta bunkilin kono kana janto bi ka almamol na alfale menke mfani mamole kake janto bi ayen kontaan fenti jaton sal jon mena ala baraka be mo be kontaan wassalam.